There's a specific scene in the original, in Crisis Core,
To be home after all this time. I have no hometown. I wouldn't know.
and in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth,
Tell me, how does it feel? I have no home, so I wouldn't know.
that shows that Sephiroth is confused of where he comes from. But what most of you already know, and for those who don't know, I'm about to give you the sauce on everything Sephiroth related. Now, if you're new to the channel, this is the ultimate channel where we break down the lore, we break down the Ultimanias, and we break down the games, different series of games in the compilation to help you understand exactly what is going on. If you don't have the time to go through and read all the books, I've recently done kind of all the heavy lifting. And what I try to do on this channel is deliver it in a concise way so that you can understand where the directors are likely headed with the story, what story they're trying to tell to us, the gamer, moving forward. In this video, I want to talk to you about a very specific scene that Sephiroth says in the Nibelheim Inn, this landscape, I've seen it before. Definitely telling us that something is going on here where Sephiroth recognizes the location, but at the same time, he also thinks that he doesn't have a hometown. Is it true? Let's dig into it today on this episode. So what's been made clear throughout Sephiroth's evolution of his story and his character in Ever Crisis, in First Soldier, is that they're developing Sephiroth in a very, very deep manner. What they're doing for Sephiroth's character is that they're giving us small pieces of identity crisis that he's having as a young child, being raised in the Shinra manner, being raised as a cyborg, as a soldier, only having the influence of Hojo, and his mannerisms would likely simulate those of who he's around the most often, kind of being a lab rat in the Shinra HQ, fighting monsters in the VR simulator, partnering up with Angeal, and really shows us the cold nature of Sephiroth that Tifa mentions in Final Fantasy Rebirth when she says, the first time I met Sephiroth, he seemed very cold. Is that the true Sephiroth, or is that something that he's kind of developed into being? Does he stay that way the entirety of the game, or does he eventually change who he is to then mirror something that is a more true essence of himself? So in First Soldier, we see Sephiroth, he's being labeled a cyborg. He says, I'm just here. A weak soldier shows their emotions. And he kind of reverts back and forth with that throughout his overall kind of identity crisis. But if we fast forward a bit, once Sephiroth arrives with Cloud, Zack, and the other Shinra troops into Nibelheim, we can see that Sephiroth specifically says, what's it like being back in your hometown? I wouldn't know. I don't have one. And that idea can go over a lot of people's minds because they tend to believe what Sephiroth is saying. But we have to understand, Sephiroth is very confused at this point in time in his life. He's thinking, should I leave Shinra? I'm going to go on this last mission. My best friends are missing. One of them has died. Zack killed one of my best friends. He now has the Buster Sword of my best friend. So there's a lot of elements going on in the stress and psychological warfare that Sephiroth is going through at this time. Yes, he's answering to the best of his ability. We have to understand that he is going through a lot of stuff at this time. What kind of made me dive into all of this, besides knowing the obvious stuff that yes, Dr. Lucretia Crescent and Hojo birthed Sephiroth. We all know that. We all know his true mother is not Janova, even though Sephiroth's confused as a child. But the important part here is that we actually see Dr. Lucretia Crescent crash in Dirge of Cerberus with Sephiroth being pregnant. We also see her crash in Final Fantasy VII OG in the flashback scene where she's actually in the Nibelheim Inn. I had to dig through the Ultimania Omega because there's a larger, much larger video coming about how people on Twitter, content creators, they lie to you. They tell you only their side of the argument and they don't really reveal other parts of the Ultimania Omega to make it seem like they're smarter than you. So what I've done is I've re-delved into kind of some of those old works, had to use AI to translate some of the Japanese into the English. And I'm really going through it meticulously to see, okay, well, what does it say here? What does it actually say here? Did you know, for example, that the Ultimania Omega does not even compensate for Crisis Core or anything like that? It says that Aerith met Zack selling flowers, which we know if we've played Crisis Core, that's not how they met at all. There's a larger video, like I said, going to be debunking some of the Ultimania Omega and the 10th anniversary Ultimania edition. But I want to kind of use the Ultimania Omega here to show a scene that they talk about for Final Fantasy VII OG, where it tells us very specifically that the scene where Sephiroth is talking about this landscape, I've seen it before, is because Sephiroth was born, as you know, in Nibelheim. from Dr. Lucretia Crescent. He was born in Nibelheim. He actually might have been born at that exact inn. And that's why when he looks at the landscape, he can see that, hey, this is bringing back an old memory that I had. This is bringing back a memory that I had looking out this window, maybe running around over here, a long time before Cloud and Tifa would have been born. So Sephiroth is Dr. Lucretia Crescent and Hojo's son. He was born in Nibelheim. So we got the Nibelheim triplets, Sephiroth, Tifa, and Cloud. If only they could have all gotten along and had a good time, none of this misadventure would have happened. So that's what I wanted to go over with you today. Just to give you a little piece of the lore, I'll make sure obviously to clip all the things, all the scenes that I have to clip, so you can see that it's very consistent with the idea that Sephiroth is born in Nibelheim. He is part of the Nibelheim triplets, and he is, at this point in time in his life, very confused because he's going through a lot of psychological warfare. He's not eating as much as he should. He's losing weight. All the stuff that I further dive into in some of my other videos. So, hope you enjoyed. If you disagree, if you think that Sephiroth says, I don't have a hometown, and you know where his secret hometown is, definitely share that in the comments. And if you think Sephiroth was not born in Nibelheim, drop it in the comments where you think he was born. Is the Ultimania Omega Shinra propaganda about this exact scene? Is the OG showing us the video Shinra propaganda for that exact scene? I don't know. You tell me. But I think I got a pretty good handle on it. Catch you guys on the next video.